With us in the studio, Ken Beckrich, Phoenix Online Trading Academy. We're going to be talking about a presidential candidate, a name you haven't been hearing too much about, Laurence Kotlikoff, and he is with the American Elect Party. Now, he is a presidential candidate who, by his own admission, really doesn't feel that he's going to be elected president of the United States.
He said it's not zero.
I have never heard of the American Elect Party.
Yes, it is. It's a group actually that's designed to become a third-party alternative to the Republicans and the Democrats. Their whole goal is to essentially have the people decide who is going to be the candidate, and the operation's trying to get people on the ballot in all 50 states, which they think they're going to be able to do. And it's really a forum for having a different discussion than what we've been having so far.
That's a great concept. I always thought the American people should be the final decision makers on who will become president and who goes up, of course, on the ballot. He contends the real debt is $200 trillion, not $15 trillion. On what does he base this?
Basically what he says is it's an accounting fiction. The way they actually, and I know it's going to be hard to believe in government that there are fictions, but essentially that what we're doing is that we're calling all this money we're taking from people for Social Security a tax as opposed to borrowing. But if you add up all the things that we have promised people on a net present value basis, so what we've promised for Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and government pensions and the rest of it, you add it all up.
Entitlement programs.
Correct. You add all of that up and you say, how much money have we promised that we don't have? That's $211 trillion over time. And that's actually what you need today if you were going to fund all of the systems, which is, of course, an impossible number, which means that there is no way we will make good on those promises.
Yet we have a president who insists that all we have to do is keep printing money.
We can print money and tax the rich.
Or I should say, let me back that up. Not only a president, we have two parties, both sides of the fence.
Correct.
Feel that all we have to do is print money.
Because the reality is that the truth is so horrible. If you really think about $200 trillion, and I did this math one time, if this was your personal household budget, if you made $50,000 a year and you spent $82,000 a year and you've promised people $4.5 million, what are the chances you will make those $4.5 million in payments? And they're not good.
No,
and that is the exact situation
well,
we're
in. 15 trillion. I mean,
that's a big number.
How do you get it down? How do you pay it off?
Well, the first thing is that you have to redefine what it is. This becomes a long discussion, but you have to redefine what government does. Government cannot do all of the things that we would like it to do because there isn't any money. And again, what you're seeing in places like Ohio and Wisconsin is they're starting to come to terms with that, but there's a lot of honest, hardworking people that were promised benefits that they're not going to get. And unfortunately, I think that's going to happen to a lot of people in this country.
He contends, and I think you concur with this, that this is a fractured, broken system that government or politics or political form, whatever word you want to use, cannot fix.
Yes, it is. The way I don't want to speak for him on this matter, but I will say we have a political problem to which there is no political solution. Because there's no votes in standing in front of people and telling them there isn't going to be any Medicare, there isn't going to be any Social Security. At some point, those systems have to change radically. And you can do a certain amount to protect people, but one of his points is that all the changes we've made in the system is to protect the older group, and we're really not helping the younger people. They're the ones who are going to suffer. And he says, I say this as an older person.
You know, taking this to a more simplistic level, and I tend to do that, let's take insurance companies. There was one time that you paid an insurance premium. You were insured against something catastrophic.
Correct.
Now we are insured against everything from a hangnail to a cavity to whatever.
Correct.
Premiums will go up if you have that kind of coverage. Fifth grader mentality can figure that one out.
Right.
Is this part of the fractured problem?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because what we're saying, and again, not to get into the whole birth control side of this, but the reality is that when you have auto insurance, it doesn't pay to change your spark plugs or your tires or to put gas in the car. To say that health insurance should cover you going to the doctor, you know, food's important. All right, so why shouldn't the government supply all of our food? We just pay more taxes, and if it supplied all of our food, would we eat hamburger or would we eat steak? And even if we ate hamburger, would we care what the hamburger cost? The problem is because someone else is the intermediation problem. Someone else is paying for all of these things, so we don't really care what it costs. If you paid for the doctor every time you went to the doctor, you'd actually shop around and they'd compete on price. The only part of healthcare where prices are coming down right now is cosmetic surgery, because there's competition and there's no insurance that covers it. Okay, so if you want to have laser eye surgery or whatever surgery you choose, you can get the price for that has actually come down, but for nothing where there's massive insurance. The problem is actually too much insurance, not too little insurance.
We cannot continue to give away the farm, yet we are. Can anyone does any political entity see the end of that road that cannot be?
They probably see it, but there's nothing, quite frankly, they can really do about it, because no one will vote for the people who will tell you the truth. If you say to them, if you say to the American people, you're not going to get your home mortgage deduction, and you're not going to get unemployment for 99 weeks, and you're not going to get Medicare and Social Security, Medicaid the way it's structured right now, all these things, those people will get demagogued to death. I mean, one of the things I said to Kotlikoff when I interviewed him was, because he was endorsing something similar to what Paul Ryan's endorsing for Medicare, I said the first thing they're going to do is make a commercial of you pushing grandma over a cliff in a wheelchair. Sure. And that's the reality of the system, because there's too much value in power. None of these people will give up the power, because you can get very rich if you are in power.
So this is like film noir where there's no way out for us, right?
That is unfortunately the case, yes.
Not good.
No.
When we say no way out, though, this is another topic. You must come back. We must talk about no way out. We must talk about what will happen if there's no way out. We hear you 960 AM radio every Saturday at noon.
That is correct. And Online Trading Academy in Phoenix, we talk a lot about these issues, because you've got to learn how to protect yourself as well.